The first insult came before the danger did. Look at her. She thinks she's above everyone else. The businessman's mocking laugh drifted across the cabin as Rachel Moore sat quietly in her economy seat. Turbulence rattled the plane, trays shivering, overhead bins groaning, but Rachel didn't so much as blink. Then, minutes later, chaos burst through the cabin door. 5 armed men stormed inside, guns raised, masks black as night. A flight attendant, Clara, was yanked forward, a pistol pressed hard to her temple. Screams erupted instantly. Passengers dropped to the floor, sobbing, clutching each other. Everyone panicked, except her. Rachel's breathing never changed. She sat still, hands resting lightly on her lap, her plain gray sweater blending into the seat like she was just another traveler. Only the co-pilot noticed the small movements of her fingers, subtle gestures, precise patterns, the unmistakable code of a counter-terrorism agent. The little girl beside Rachel, 6 years old, stuffed bunny crushed against her chest, stared up at her with tear-streaked cheeks. Rachel opened her eyes just long enough to give her a tiny nod. Something unspoken, something steady. The girl's sobs slowed, then stopped. Across the aisle, judgment whispered like venom. "She has no emotion," a woman in a pink blazer muttered. "Probably thinks she's better than the rest of us," the businessman added, loud enough for half the cabin to hear. Rachel didn't react. A single tilt of her head was enough to make the man's smug smile falter. When another passenger, gold chain, tailored suit, shot up and snapped, "You think you're tougher than us?" Rachel answered with only 2 words, "Sit down." Soft, calm, commanding. He sat. The tension simmered, passengers clinging to their fear, their resentment. Even as the plane steadied, the whispers around Rachel continued like a slow storm building. Then the real storm hit. The masked leader slammed Clara against a seat. $50 million, an armored vehicle, a clear runway, 1 hour. The cabin erupted. Soft prayers, broken sobs, trembling hands. And then turning eyes at Rachel. "She's too calm," someone hissed. "She's with them," another accused. "She's going to get us killed." Rachel's gaze never wavered from the gunman. Even when a man clutching a family photo shouted, "You're not even trying to help," she looked at him, softening just enough to say, "Your family's waiting for you. Stay calm." It eased him. Only a little, but enough. Under her sleeve, her fingertip brushed her smartwatch. In a control room miles below, a commander straightened. "Agent Moore is in position." Back on the plane, Rachel leaned toward the little girl's mother. "They need leverage. They won't fire yet." But the fear around her kept twisting into anger. A flight attendant, hands trembling, leaned close. "Please stop talking. You're putting us at risk." Rachel's calm reply, "I'm helping." Her focus tightened. Years of training replayed behind her eyes. Dusty rooms, harsh instructors, the rhythm of disarming a weapon. She watched every shift of the terrorists' feet, every twitch of their fingers, every second slipping away. Then the leader screamed again. 5 minutes. He shoved Clara forward. She stumbled. Passengers screamed. And then something inside Rachel changed. She stood. The movement was fluid, controlled, deadly calm. "Your biggest mistake," she said, voice low, steady, certain, "was letting me sit here too long." The leader snapped his gun toward her. He never got the chance. Rachel moved first. 2 steps, a twist. The gun ripped from his hand. Her elbow cracked across his jaw. He collapsed, unconscious before his body hit the cabin floor. Gasps swallowed the plane. She spun. The scarred henchman lunged. She snapped his wrist, dropped him with a strike. The stocky one rushed her. She sidestepped and drove her knee into his gut. Another man raised his weapon. She hit his throat, sending him crashing down. The last barely lifted his arm before she folded him with a ruthless kick. 5 men. 10 seconds. Silence. Clara collapsed into a seat, free and shaking. Passengers stared, wide-eyed, trembling, speechless. The young man in the hoodie whispering, Who are you?" The pink blazer woman choking out, "She looked so ordinary." The businessman shrinking into his seat. The older man in the faded jacket just nodded, like he'd known all along. Rachel adjusted her sweater and sat back down as if she'd simply stretched her legs. No victory pose, no dramatic flourish, just calm. Clara whispered, "Thank you." A few passengers murmured apologies. Others cried. Some couldn't meet her eyes at all. The little girl reached for Rachel's hand again, and Rachel let her hold it. The engine softened. The plane descended. Relief hung thick in the air. When the wheels touched down and the cabin door opened, heavily armed special forces poured inside, but stopped cold. The terrorists were already zip-tied on the floor with the restraints Rachel carried in her bag. The commander stepped forward. "Agent Moore," he said, giving a crisp salute. "Outstanding, as always." Gasps, applause, a wave of realization sweeping the cabin. The same people who'd mocked her, judged her, accused her, now clapped for her. Later, the world would see their behavior online, some losing jobs, brand deals, reputation, friends. Regret came fast and hard, but Rachel didn't linger for the aftermath. She simply picked up her bag, brushed her hair from her face, and walked down the aisle with the same quiet grace she'd shown the entire flight. Because for her, it wasn't glory, it wasn't recognition, it wasn't revenge. It was her job, and she had done it flawlessly.